Namaste and good morning. This is Bhawana Shrestha, coordinator of Skills, Knowledge and Innovation Committee, which is an initiative of NRNA Australia. Our job is to connect our diaspora here in Australia and also our folks back home in Nepal to share knowledge, our expertise and skills. And today I have a very special guest. She is Bhawana Shrestha. The reason I have invited Bhawana to this program today is to share her knowledge with our diaspora in Australia and also our folks back home. She's a very highly educated, intelligent woman who's also a super mom. And talking about her qualification, she's a certified public accountant, a CPA, she's an MBA graduate, and she's also a mortgage broker. She runs an accounting firm in Sydney. She has an office in Burwood, and the name of the firm is SBS Accounting Services.
SBS Business Advisory.
Okay, thank you. So today, the topic of discussion is it's not how much you make, it's how much you save. We're going to talk about financial literacy, financial discipline, and how to become financially independent early on our life itself without having to retire and have lots of savings in your bank account. So today we want to share our knowledge with not just individuals but also small business owners. There are a lot of Nepalese entrepreneurs out there who are running businesses like restaurants, cleaning businesses, IT consulting firms. They're into lots of different businesses these days. So most of them they are running at a small scale. Some of them have become really big, successful, but majority are running a small business. So that's why today we're going to focus on the financial discipline for small businesses. Right, Vauna?
Yeah,
So,
that's correct.
Vauna, maybe you can tell us a bit about your journey to Australia first. I think we can talk in English and as well as Nepali, and whatever you're comfortable with. I know. Vauna, just tell us, when did you come to Australia, and how has your journey been like so far?
Yeah, Ryan, thanks so much for the invite. I deeply appreciate this conversation. And so I came to Australia in 2009 with my husband. And like any other individual, when I started here, it was not an easy road. It was very difficult journey to make. First thing, we had to leave our parents and come to the country that we never been. It's a cultural shock. It's everything is so new. Even English is not our first language. We always used to speak in Nepalese, and here we must had to communicate in English. So yeah, so I came here in 2009 and I was very lucky indeed. So I got my accounting job within 3 weeks of coming here, and it was ASX listed company. I was a standalone accountant there. That's how I pursue my accounting career, and side by side I studied CPA as well, along with doing MBA. That's how my humble journey started, like
Right.
anyone else.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you.
So you were lucky to get a job in your field of expertise straight after coming to Australia. That's very good. Like a lot of people are not that lucky. They have to work very hard in some other areas, and then slowly, they
Mm.
get chance to improve their communication skills, their network, and then only they get the job in their professional field. So in your case, you got accounting job in an ASX listed company straight away. That's really good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm very humbled.
Sure. Bhavana, so let's move on to our topic now, right? Because you're the best person to give financial advice, but because today we're just having an informal discussion, so I think let me make a disclaimer that whatever things we discuss today is just for information sharing. Nothing is a professional advice,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
Sure. Okay.
It is to help Nepalese community
Yeah.
to understand financial aspects.
Sure. As I said earlier, there are a lot of small businesses out there from our community. What do you think is the most important aspect for a small business to, uh, you know, not have financial issues in their business? What's the most important thing?
Yeah. The main important thing is every business owner, they start with the dream.
Yeah.
So initially when they start the business, it starts with bread and butter, earning that bread and butter from the business.
Yep.
So once everyone used to be employee, doing 9 to 5 job, and then deciding to go into business, it's a big win in itself, because not everyone wants to go in business.
Yeah.
So first thing in any business is earning that bread and butter, and second is earning the cream of the business, which means that spending time with the family,
Right.
having that quality time for yourself.
Yep.
And then comes the dream, so why they are in the business. So that's the main important thing. So we always need to use reverse engineering for this. What you want, by coming to business, why you came to business is the
Yeah.
most important question, and what you want from the business. So if we have that vision in our mind always, managing those financial aspects would be easy, because we know our core goal,
Yep.
and we walk towards it step by step, one
Right.
step at a time.
Yeah. Right. So, getting into business is a risky business.
It is
You know,
indeed.
they say that only about 20% of the small business survive more than 2 years.
Yeah,
So
that's the harsh fact.
yes,
Yeah,
so you being a small business owner and myself as well, I think
yeah,
we know that because it's not easy, right? So what you're saying is you got to have a product that sells, so you
Mhm.
have income, like
Yeah.
bread and butter.
Bread and butter of the business.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you got to be profitable,
Yeah. So
and
that's the cream of the
yes,
business. Yeah.
yes, and you also must be able to have that work and life balance,
Yeah.
right? Because in some small businesses, you have to work 24/7,
Yeah.
7 days a week. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Even when you're sleeping, you're thinking about your business sometimes.
That's correct. Especially initially when we start business, we
Yeah.
have all gone through that phases.
Yeah.
Working too hard in the business, not having
Mm.
time for ourselves, for our family,
Yeah.
especially for our health, and then thinking, oh, was I better off in 9 to 5
Right.
job? But if you see the big picture, it's not always the case. Then
Mm.
slowly we get to know how to manage our business properly, so that so when for the goal that we set, we go towards the goal by reducing the hours and then doing extra thing in the business, so that business can run by itself.
Yep. Right. Sure. So for you to get to that stage, it will take time, isn't it?
Yeah, it does
So
indeed. Yeah,
initially, first few years are very difficult. Then you
it,
might have to work extra hours,
yeah.
right? And do you think you should be driven by profit, or don't think about profit in the initial stage?
Yeah, so in initial stages, I would suggest a business owner just to focus on the service.
Yeah.
Having that network. Your network is your net worth. So yeah, having that like-minded people's network with you, and when client comes in the door, just make sure that you service that client so well that client become your brand ambassador.
Yes.
And that one particular client, they spread your good words. They spread it at least to one person, can spread at least to 10, 15, 20 people. That's how more clients starts coming to business, and
Yeah.
it's a natural process. Business will grow organic.
Yes.
But if we are so much profit oriented, we might not do the good work.
Exactly.
And we won't create that first impression.
Yeah.
So when we are in business, it's a long-term goal. We don't come to business thinking that, okay, I have 1 year, I will do the business, grab all the money and go. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It's a long-term process. So definitely we must be service oriented. That's
Yes.
how we grow gradually.
Yes. That's more a marketing advice than a financial advice, but I agree with you 100%. Especially when you have an upset customer, they go and tell a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's a rule that you know um, the happy customer I will always go and tell maybe maximum 3 to 4 people,
Correct.
but unhappy customer will tell at least 12.
Oh, everyone. And these days, it's, everyone can jump online and just do bad Google review, and
Yes,
it really impacts the business, and
yes,
you want to avoid it at any cost. So do your best, just be yourself,
yep.
do the good service, and, universe will always throw
Mhm.
you things. If you are genuine,
Yes,
universe will always look after you.
yes. As Bhagavan Krishna said,
Yeah.
karma karo, phal ka aas
Yeah,
nahi karo.
that's so
If you
true.
do a
Yeah.
good karma, the
Then yeah,
profits,
eventually
the
good
return on
thing will
investment will
always
come.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's great. So when it comes to running a small business, cost management is very important, right? Do you have any strategies on cost management?
Yeah, sure. The first important thing is, I would say to every business owners and to my client as well. So whenever they have, so let's say this month you have done the income and you have done the expenses. So after the month end, just have a look on your profit and loss account. Even though you don't necessarily need to understand everything
Yeah,
over there, but just see what's the segregation, how much is your income, and to on that income, how much cost incurred, and
right,
even that incurred, what is the maximum cost in that column. So let's say you might be, let's say for example, if you are in recruitment business, you are spending so much on the advertisement, which might not be necessary. Let's say your income is $100 and your expenses is $50 to cover that cost. So again, then your business will never be profitable
yeah,
because its cost is more than the revenue in itself. So that's why we need to segregate what is our revenue, what is our source of a revenue, and to earn that revenue, what are the costs incurred, and whether business will be viable keeping on doing that.
yeah,
Yeah, incurring that maximum cost. So I would rather say every business owners just focus on their business, though they don't have time to understand their number every time. Sit down with your accountant in initial stage of the business, ask them to show how business performed, and try to understand everything. So because business is all about margin, it doesn't matter how much revenue you make. It's about how much margin you are making, because that's how business can be sustainable.
right.
Yep.
So you're suggesting that don't wait until the end of the financial year
Yeah.
to look at the profit and loss statement. Have a
No,
profit
no.
and loss statement prepared every quarterly, maybe.
Yeah, that's correct. And initially at the start of business, it's wise to do every month
Mm,
to see how business is performing. You work so hard in the business to make the sale,
mm,
you should at least spend 10 minutes a month to just analyze how you performed. Yeah, you should be curious enough to do that so
right.
that you just do better in the business.
Sure.
Yeah.
But as a marketing person, what I believe is like you have to spend money to make money. You know, sometimes you can't be always profit driven, and also it's the customers who set the price. Not us. I know, like, as an accountant, you can look at the cost of goods sold by looking at all the costs involved. But if the customer is not willing to pay that price, there's no enough demand, then sometimes you have to also sell at a loss, right? Do you recommend this strategy for long-term gain?
So it's like this. For instance, let's say if someone started the business and there is not many customer in the door.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is first thing is in this e-commerce market. So you advertise your business, you advertise your products. That's how you attract more customer. Once you have regular flow of the customer, you might not need to spend that much money in marketing business,
Mm-hmm.
because business is working by itself. Your customers are your brand ambassador, your product are selling by itself, and you might not to spend 50% in marketing, let's say, but bring it down to 30%.
Yeah.
So it makes a huge impact
Right.
in your financial stability as well, not having spending that extra 20% and putting it into all the expenses that now business need, because now business is growing. So it really depends on which stage of the business
Right.
people are in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. So you're suggesting that yes, you got to look at the margins, but again, you got to have different strategies at different stages of the
Yeah,
business
correct.
life cycle.
Yeah,
Like if it's
yeah.
like some of the small businesses, they also use this strategy called loss leader.
Hmm.
They sell one product at a loss to bring in more traffic to their business, which is very common in Australia. Have you noticed it?
Yeah, yeah, it is, and nothing wrong doing that,
Yeah.
because at the end they will sit down and analyze whether it is impacting on the net profit of the business.
Mm-hmm.
What is the overall sell for
Yeah.
the company, whether it is profit making product or non-profit making product, what are the costs to make that sell, and looking after all the operation expenses, what is the net impact of the business.
Yeah.
If the net profit margin is better in that way, yeah, just continue doing that, because that's how you welcome more client into the business.
Yeah. Actually, this is a very, very old strategy. There's a saying in Newari, um, you know, um, Zaki Diana Ke Kwe. That means like I'll take a loss in the rice and I'll make up the profit from the lentils.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
So that's one of the strategies some people use to get the traffic in their store.
Yeah, it is. And then, 80/20 rules,
Y-
it really works in the business.
Yeah.
So all your product might not be, 100% selling product, but just find the key product that sells more. And if you can just reduce the price of it
Yeah.
and have more customers to buy those products, the business is profitable in by itself.
Right, sure. So that means in any business, there's always like 20% which is your cash cow
Yeah,
that really sells and profits you.
yeah.
The other 80% is just there just to meet the demand.
Yeah, just for bread and butter
Yeah,
of the business, to
right.
keep things flowing in the business.
Yeah.
And same with the customer as well.
Mhm.
So top 20% of the customer, they make most of the revenue in the business
Yes.
as well. So focus on those 20 customers first, but not saying that just avoid 80%.
Yeah.
Give premium service to those
Yes.
top 20% customers,
Right.
and that's how business grow eventually.
Wow, that's good. Okay. I think it also applies in staffing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Even your employees,
Yeah.
20% make the most sales.
Yeah.
They're the ones who pay salary for everyone.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why if we spend more time on their training,
Yeah.
in their development, both personal and the professional growth, it pays off.
Yeah.
And they are the one who looks after all the staffs in the company. So I would suggest in any small business, let's say there is a head in any department, operation head, marketing head, accounts head, and if they are very knowledgeable and reliable person, just look after them well, and
Yeah.
they will look after the business.
Sure. Okay. When it comes to sourcing product for your business or even sourcing customers, you got to have very good negotiating skills, right? How important do you think it is to get the best price for your raw materials, for any service from the vendor, like if you have to buy advertising space, negotiation skills is very important, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. And for negotiation skill, again, negotiation is the next step. First step is focus on your business, what's going on. So, our customers, let's say, for example, customers, are they paying in 30 days' time, or
Yeah.
you can bring them down to 7 days, so you have regular cash flow in the business.
Right.
And even for supplier, so are you paying instantly, cash on demand, or are you doing 30 days payment term, or you can just extend it to 60 days
Right.
if they are willing to. So just focus on what's happening on your business and do the proper planning for it.
Yeah.
Pick those right customer whom you want to speak with to reduce the payment term. And
Yeah.
same for supplier, for the big supplier of the business, which they incur most cost of the business. Talk to those supplier, and I would suggest it's not like back and forth email.
Yeah.
Go and talk to them in person. That's where people's
Okay.
skill comes.
Yeah.
And people really loves talking to people, and just use your emotional intelligence as well, because
Yeah.
not everything is about profit or about money, and it's about
Relationship
how
building.
my relationship with you, how I can build that relationship, and how I can be trustworthy,
Yeah.
and just let them know you are here for the long-term goal. And
Mm.
if you are going through any situation in the business, just be upfront and let them know
Mm.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And people are always ready to help people. That's how we grow together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah, that's very good advice. Even I got some customers who don't pay on time, or some just avoids to pay it. Do you think it's wise to threaten them with debt collect debt collection?
No,
No.
no, because we must do all our due diligence. We must, sometimes what happens if, okay, let's say you have one customer not paid until 90 days and it's massively impacting on your cash flow. It might be just that you are just sending email, not talking to them in
Mm.
person. If you talk to them in person, people are willing to help, and people think that they are more committed. They have already taken your service, so
Right.
they know they need to pay it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how you say it.
So the best
Yeah,
approach is to talk to them,
to talk to them first.
not
Yeah,
hide
talk to
behind
them
emails.
and ask them when they can do the payment. Ask them for the particular date that they
Right.
can do.
Right.
And then if they can't pay, let's say you have 20,000 due for one customer and they
Yeah.
are not paying, just try to segregate it. Have a payment plan so that at least they pay like 500 a week.
Yeah.
It's far better than going that debt into the bad debt,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
And you collect fund as well.
Yeah.
But to avoid that, don't give that long payment plan, payment term to the customer. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So if you are strict from the beginning,
Yeah.
7 days payment term, then yeah, people know that they need to pay you on time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very good advice. And someone told me that the best way to manage your accounts receivables and payables is, I think you said the same thing. Uh, Pay the payables as late as possible,
Yeah.
and collect the receivables as
As
early as
soon as
possible.
possible, yeah.
Then you can
Yeah.
manage the cash flow better,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, and thanks to e-commerce, so when you send the invoice,
Mm.
instantly they can pay. So
Yeah.
there are many methods like Tyro,
Mm.
Stripe. They can just log in and then just put their credit cards, debit cards, bank details, and just pay the invoice. So
Right.
that might be something using the technology
Yeah.
to the most, so that you get payment earlier, because cash flow is a king in any business,
Yes.
and we need to make sure that we are on top of it.
Right. Okay. Sure. And one of the other things about managing cash flow properly is also managing the GST collection, right? Because personally, in my business as well, every quarterly you have to pay the BAS, and then suddenly you have all the GST collected sitting, due. Um, but because you've already invested the money somewhere else, you have to negotiate with ATO for an installment payment plan, right?
Yeah.
What do you suggest, the business owners should do so that they don't have this kind of problem?
Yeah. So I suggest all business owner to have a separate bank account so that they have savings in the business. So
Yeah.
in our personal life, what we do is we always create that saving account so that there is a buffer sitting there
Right.
for rainy days.
Yeah.
And business is not different. So in business also, we need to have a separate account, bank account, where saving of the business always goes there,
Right. So every
stays
month,
there.
or any GST you collected, you put it
Yeah,
in
in that
that
separate
account.
account. And don't be tempted to pull that up, because
Yeah.
every
It's
3 months,
not your money.
every 3 months we need to submit to ATO. And these days, ATO really just people, and then they charge interest and penalty
Yeah.
if GST is not lodged on time and the paid on time. So that's why we need that fund very soon.
Right.
Just have a separate account, and most of the problem is solved.
Right. Moving on to ATO and taxation, uh, do you suggest any strategies for tax minimization?
Oh yeah, there are plenty. There are plenty, and for short term, any business owners, they can claim all the eligible deductions that business is entitled to claim, and they need to be proactive. In normal case, accountant claims everything, all the eligible deductions that business needs to claim, but they also need to be alert aware, and if accountant is not doing it right, ask the questions. And
Right.
not only that, there are small business concession as well available as well.
Yeah.
And there is a research and development grant, refundable research project that get
It's
refunded.
if you are developing some product.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
developing some product, and then even marketing grants as well. So
Yeah.
there are various grants available, various R&D, the initiative that government has put forward, and small business concession as well. Just see what is more applicable to you, and just go to the accountant who is proactive in claiming everything,
Yeah.
like that, and who is aware what's going on in this industry. Yeah, that's
Right.
how taxation can be minimized, because that's everyone's goal,
Yeah.
if it can be done legally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, in some cases, like some accountants, they 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 help you decide whether how much profit your business can make or wants to make, and then because you pay tax only if you make a profit, right? I think most large multinationals do this. They're always reinvesting the money in the business to minimize the profit so that they don't pay tax. Is this legal?
So, being an accountant, we only work on legal way of minimizing
Yeah.
tax. For instance, I give you live example. So now it's business need to do their fiscal year 23 tax return, and most of my client, they bought vehicle car in 23 tax year.
Yeah.
So that car is fully deductible.
Right.
So it's fully legal, fully deductible. If someone is not doing it, then they are missing out. It's
Right.
just one example of it.
Yeah.
And nowadays, if we buy a Tesla, it's FBT exempt.
Yeah.
So see where we can minimize tax legally. What are ATOs? What benefit ATO is providing to small business owners? Ask your accountant and work wisely,
Right.
so that it's legal.
Yeah. Um, like for example, if I own a restaurant and I want to buy a motor vehicle to deliver food, right? Can I buy a motor vehicle which I can use for restaurant and also for personal use? Is it possible?
So when you buy the motor vehicle, if it is in the business name and if it is used 100% for the business use, it is 100% deductible.
Yeah.
But if you buy in your personal name, only the business portion of you is deductible. So that's why, and motor vehicle is the second biggest expenses we do, apart from house. So that's why before you buy it, always consult with your accountant.
Yeah.
What is the best outcome?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Some I was told that some heavy vehicles attract more tax deduction.
Yeah,
Is
it's a
that
fuel
true?
tax credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we have a heavy vehicle, and if we have applied, just like GST, we need to apply for fuel tax credit. So what it means is, whenever we fill our vehicle with the fuel, whatever cost is there, that a percentage of that cost is claimable as well, which
Okay.
most of the business they don't know. So that's why it's very wise decision to talk with your accountant. First, choose proactive accountant. Second, take a time to have that coffee catch up with your accountant. Just run through your business and just see what is missing, and then you can do that. So obviously fuel tax credit is something
Right.
business need to consider.
Okay. Um, let's talk about using technology to make a business more efficient. These days there's a lot of softwares, AI tools. Can you just give some advice in this regard? Like, how can you make your business efficient by using technology?
Yeah, sure. So, in business, in any business, there are areas where we are just doing manual stuff,
Yep.
and it is very repetitive manual tasks, which can be assigned to, if we have implement any this technology, it can easily be assigned. For example, let's say the admin work, that nowadays to book your calendar, to do any admin stuff, you might not necessarily need a person. That there are so many technologies which does it, and
Yes.
if the business has proper CRM system, the all employee, they can get connected with each other. They know what each other are doing,
Yeah.
and they take the proper note. And not only that, so let's say if some business is in marketing, they can use ChatGPT for that content creation as well. So life is much easier, and thanks to COVID, after that, everyone is more interested in going into that AI platform.
Yeah.
And that's how we get more efficient, because at the end of the day, it's all about how from the minimum effort you get the maximum output. And
Yes.
that's what we want in the business, because we being an accountant, I don't always want to sit at my desk crunching numbers, where technology, we can, the software can integrate, and then technology can do it by itself. So same thing goes for your business as well,
Yeah.
and everyone's business as well. So proper use of the technology, it makes life so much easier.
Yes. Yeah, as you said, you can use CRMs like HubSpot,
Yeah.
Salesforce. Some of these CRMs are quite expensive, but at the same time, there are some free ones as well,
Yeah.
which can manage small businesses.
Yeah, it's a one-time investment. So
Yeah.
once we invest, and if
Mm.
we properly use it, then result is far better than having that manual process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for meetings as well, you can use Teams, Zoom,
Yeah.
so you don't have to go and
Yeah,
visit your
physically.
clients.
Yeah. Yeah. How
Just
good is
physically.
life these days?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I use ChatGPT a lot these days.
Yeah.
Before when I think about implementing any campaign, I have to like think for hours. Nowadays I just go and ask ChatGPT, and
Yeah.
you get an idea, and you just have to polish it. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it saves a lot of time.
Yeah, and that time you can just give to yourself for your
Yeah,
well-being, for your family, and for other necessary tasks
yeah,
that you want to accomplish.
mm,
Yeah.
sure. And even other using mechanical like machines as well makes a lot of difference, because in Australia labor cost is so expensive, right? Like usually when I go to Nepalese restaurants, I don't order momo because it's not worth it, because for a plate of momo it's like $20. You get 10 momos, and usually when you have momo you have to have at least 30, so like it's like $60 for
Yeah.
three plates of momos. It's because it's so time consuming, it's so labor intensive to make momos, right?
It is.
Why
Yeah.
don't the restaurants they just install a momo making machine? It will save them a lot of time and effort
Yeah, it
and
is.
labor cost. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
is. And so, in Australia, we need to follow this rule. We need to pay the minimum wages,
Yeah.
have the super on top of it,
Yes.
yeah, give them all the entitlements, annual leave, sick leave. And then if machine can just do same quality work, just using the most of it, it would be good if
Yeah.
it is hygienic as well. So at the end, you want to have that, excellent experience to the customer. You want to feed them nice food,
Yes.
and if it can be attained by just investing in one machine for one time, it works for you for the long time. So that's
Exactly.
why we need to have that long-term vision in our business
Yeah.
to survive and
Yeah.
obviously to
And other
grow the
tax
business.
benefits, you can depreciate the equipment.
Yeah, we can always depreciate the equipments,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it so let's say if your staff gets sick, if your two of your staff get sick, then it impacts your business.
Yes.
But then for machine, you need to regularly look after the machine, and
Yeah.
the machine look after you as well.
Yeah.
So those things as well,
Yeah.
that we need to consider when we are in business.
Sure. So talking about staffing, like I think staffing is the biggest cost for any business,
Yeah.
right? But these days, a lot of the jobs can be done virtually. So outsourcing is something, it's become like a necessity for some service businesses. Do you want to say something about this outsourcing?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So after COVID as well, so people are more considering of outsourcing because now we know everyone can work from home, and if they can work from home in Australia, so they can definitely work from home when they are in other countries as well.
Yeah.
So we can take that advantage, outsourcing, because in any business, the most expensive thing is the rent
Yeah.
and the staff. If they can find qualified staff um, in any other country and they can train, and then if those staff can follow the proper company guidance, it's not too bad idea to outsource as well, provided that the productivity level is the same,
Yeah.
and business gets the main motto of the business, it's served by having that outsourced staff.
Yeah, sure. And actually, we are in the sweet spot, being Nepali. We can always have a back office in Nepal,
Yeah,
So it's kind of good for our country as well. I mean,
yeah.
our home country. And it's good for our business here because we achieve that efficiency and cost reduction, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
that's true. And then, so it is good. So whenever we go back to our country to meet our parents,
Mm.
to our family members, I would advise the business owners to go and visit their office staff in person as well,
Yeah.
because it makes a huge impact when someone you are just talking virtually, or you meet in person with them. Just take them out for the lunch.
Mm.
Just ask about their well-being. Just see what they need in the business, how you can help them so that they can help the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And we can reduce the staffing cost by, I think, at least about 60 to 70%.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For
Mm.
sure.
Right. That's a huge savings for a business.
It is.
Right. Um, I think we covered a lot of things about small business. It's just like doing a mini MBA. I think if people who watch our program, they don't need to go and do an MBA.
Hopefully.
Just maybe one last question about small business. How do you develop a savings mindset in a business and cultivate that culture? Like we gotta put some money aside for rainy days. You know,
Yeah. So
is
yeah,
there any steps we can follow?
yeah, definitely. So the first thing we always need to remember is why we are in business. And then if we know the answer why we are in business, everything gets very easy,
Mm.
because finance, definite financial aspect of the business definitely plays the key role to achieve why we are here, and then how we are going to grow in the business. So definitely, the most important thing is financial discipline.
Yeah.
Always knowing why you are in the business and having that discipline for yourself, because when you are in any business, it's just like giving birth to a baby.
Mm.
It's your kid, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
Just the way that when we have a kid, we always think, okay, we need to save money for their education, we need to save money for their marriages, and I want to spend quality time with the family.
Yeah.
That's why I need to save more money. So just like that, um, for business also we need to have same mindset, why
Right.
we are in the business in the same place,
Yeah.
what legacy we want to create being in the business, and that's why we need to be profitable being in
Mm.
business, and we need to be sustainable. And for that also, just have a good financial discipline. Just look after your income and expenses, what is the most cost driven expenses, and how you can reduce that so that you have enough money to save for the rainy days.
Right.
And it's not only about saving, it's about wisely investing that saving
Yeah.
and creating more wealth, generating wealth for the family to create that legacy. That's what matters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good advice.
Thank you.
Sure. Since you are also a mortgage broker, let's talk a little bit about financial discipline in individuals. Um, what I've seen is in the Nepalese community, they achieve a lot of pride in owning property. Some of them they own like multiple properties. Five, six uh, investment properties, right? And personally, I may be wrong, but what I believe is especially the youngsters are rushing too much into buying their first home. Like for example, some of them, like they got their PR after their graduation. They're just like 25, 26 years old, and then they go and buy their first home. Actually, a lot of them, they get married and then buy their first home, right? And then these days the interest rate is so high. There's so much mortgage they have to pay. You know, they don't have extra money or income source to compensate for the time when their partner will fall pregnant, maybe have a baby. Um, you know, do you think like when do you think is the best time to buy a house?
Yeah. So best time to buy a house is when you are mentally ready and financially ready.
Yeah.
And when I say you are, it's not buying a house is not an individual decision. It's the family's decision, the couple's decision. So whenever both are ready, I see couples where one is very ready because someone might be very ambitious, and the
Yeah.
other person might not be that ready because that they are considering other factors, like you said, that being pregnant, having kid, which is absolutely fine. So both needs to have same goal, and then yeah, they both need to be mentally and financially ready to buy the home.
Yeah, I think, personally, I believe that maybe it's best you settle down first, have one or two kids, and then buy a house. That's my personal advice.
Yeah, yeah, it's everybody, they have their own individual
Yeah,
goals, but
yeah,
as long as they are happy and content in their life after buying a house, if they can spend quality time with
yeah.
with each other together,
Mm,
and they can pursue their other goals as well,
mm,
then I would advise to buy the house when they are actually ready.
yeah, sure. And when it comes to buying an investment property, I feel that a lot of people are being misled. Like they use the term negative gearing, and then they say, oh, we can do negative gearing. Let's buy a property for investment. But in reality, you're going to be earning top salary to benefit from negative gearing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true, because negative gearing is only for the people who earn top salary, who
Yeah.
have so much tax to pay,
Yes.
and they want to manage that tax paid
Mm.
amount. So that's where negative gearing comes. But then if your salary can't cover it and your rental income can't cover it,
Mm.
there is no point adding property on top of property and then thinking that negative gearing works before, because for that negative gearing to happen, first you need to invest on that property.
Yes.
And if you don't have
And you have to
enough
suffer a
source,
loss.
yeah, and you have to suffer loss, you need to have proper income to compensate for that
Yeah.
initially, and only on tax time, only in year end, you can claim from that negative gearing.
Yes.
So that's why it's very important to know your financials first.
Yes.
What is my incoming, what is my outgoing, whether I would be able to, if let's say the property is vacant for a good 2 months, whether I would have sufficient cash in as a buffer to cover for those costs.
Yes.
So by knowing all these things, then only they should invest. So that's why it's wise to sit down with the accountant and run through the number
Exactly.
and just think how they feel about it
Yeah.
and go for it.
Yeah, just don't just go by what the real estate agent is telling you. You gotta do your due diligence first.
That's true,
right?
because no one know better about you and
Yeah.
about your finance than yourself.
Yes.
So if
And
you
even
don't
if you are earning
understand,
very good salary, probably the maximum benefit you can get from negative gearing is about $7,000 a year, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, it
That's
is
the
in
maximum.
7, 10, or 15,
Yeah.
it depending on the case.
Yeah.
But again, to attain that negative gearing, what
Mm.
is your cost? What you have to, there is no gain without pain. What
Yes.
pain you
The
need to
hassle, the
endure
risk.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are ready to endure that pain, then go for it.
Yeah.
If you are not ready mentally, financially, then why to go for the pain?
Yes.
Yeah.
And about buying multiple properties, it's not always profitable, I think, because if you invest in some apartments, I've seen there has not been any growth in the last so many years. So a lot of people who are selling it after 5, 10 years, even they're suffering a loss. So don't just compete with your friends and relatives and go a race to own multiple properties, it may not be financially sound decision always, right?
Yeah,
You agree?
I agree with that,
Yes.
because when we have apartments
Mm.
and townhouse in, let's say, not that well suburb, then max growth you might get is 10%
Yes.
out of it. It's a different story if it's a house and well performing suburb, but that's the data.
Yes.
And so that's why just make a wise decision where to buy and when to buy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's better to have a positively geared investment than negatively geared, isn't it? I mean, then
Um,
at least your rental income will cover, all your expenses.
So I would say this thing in the way that, let's say, if you have two, three investment property, if one property is positively geared, it will look after other two properties
Yeah.
a negative investment. So that's how you can have proper cash flow management,
Right.
and at the end, all three works well for reducing your tax payable.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be the strategy to
Okay.
balance it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For this again, I think it's best to get some professional advice from
Yeah,
people like
yeah,
you.
yeah, it is indeed, because everyone's situation is different, and without having looking into their financial position, no one can suggest like when to buy. Just sit down with your accountant, just see how it's going and what better you can do for your finance,
Yeah.
so that you can have that long-term stability and you fulfill your dream. Yeah.
Exactly. And one more thing I want to ask you about this mortgage thing is refinancing. Like personally, I believe that a lot of people are misled uh, by banks and mortgage brokers sometimes by taking them through the refinancing exercise, right? Because since you already paid the loan for a certain period of time, um, when you refinance, if the loan period is going to be extended for another 30 years, you will actually paying more in the long run, right? But the customers, they think that, oh, I refinance, I get a better deal, my installment payments will go down, you know, and then they are in a rush to refinance every few years, but actually they might be losing money in the long term, right?
It might be the case because, for instance, if it's an owner-occupied property, then it's always better to have that owner-occupied property debt-free as
Yes.
soon as possible. So being refinanced, which just means that your long-term loan term has increased.
Yes.
So it might not be the best decision to refinance it. But if it is an investment property, it might be good idea to refinance depending on your situation.
Right.
So what's the current, especially with the COVID time when the interest rate was so low. Now whoever did for 4 years lock, now they are coming out of it, and now they need to pay at least 6+%. So in that case, just choosing the bank wisely so that their borrowing capacity is more and interest rate is also less. That would be the best outcome.
Right.
Yeah, but again, then you need to run the numbers
Yes.
first, then only make the decision.
Right. Sure. Look at the fine print. I think
Yeah.
there's no such thing as free lunch.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheaper for a reason.
It is,
Right.
and just don't follow the crowd. Be wise, do wise,
Yeah.
and that's how then
Yeah.
you can just attain the goal.
Sure.
Yeah.
As you said, if it's an owner-occupied property, it's best to pay off your loan as soon as possible.
It is because
So
you don't.
if it's your first home, reduce the pay as much as you can in mortgage and pay it off sooner, so
Yeah.
that you can get the equity from there
Yeah,
to invest in
yeah,
other.
yeah, that's correct. And you might want to gather enough equity
Yeah.
to invest in business as well.
Yeah.
And then, every bank, they want some security, right? So that's how also business. So if in business, especially if you want to grow the business to take to the next level, you might want to take some kind of business loan or overdraft from the bank as well.
Yeah.
And if you have that equity build up in your home, it always helps for your next property
Right.
as well.
Right. Sure. Right. Because investment property is actually a business, so it's good to have expenses there,
Mhm.
and
Correct.
every interest you pay is actually an expense.
Yeah.
So don't worry about paying off your investment property sooner.
Yeah.
But for primary home, it's better to pay it off sooner.
Yeah, that's correct. Because
Right.
for primary property, we can't claim for any bank interest, any depreciation, any outgoings like strata council, management fee, repair and maintenance. Nothing is claimable.
Yeah.
So that's why if you can't claim that anywhere, why to pay the bank loan? So
Yeah.
it's better idea to try to pay off it as soon as you can,
Right.
so that you can invest in other properties where you can claim everything if it is an investment property. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's very very good advice. Um, so maybe just one last question now, because we've had a chat for such a long time already. For any individual, what is your suggestion to achieve financial freedom in their life as soon as possible, so that they can retire early?
Yeah, so that is everyone's goal, to
Yeah.
attain financial freedom
Yeah.
and then retire early. But to do that, we must be. So there is one thing. So there should be willingness and ability to do that. And to attain that, what I would suggest is consider saving. Have that enough savings, so whatever is your salary, it doesn't matter whatever is your salary, at least try to save 20% of it
Yeah.
initially to get started with. And that saving, if it just sits in bank, it means nothing.
Yes.
And you earn peanuts in interest. So
Exactly.
invest that saving, and there are so many ways to invest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so invest it, and then that investment money, then it will now help you to create that buffer for yourself, so that you can grow big. You can invest, you can use it for anything that you want to attain financially.
Yeah.
So that's how things work. So save, invest, and always have that big project mindset, so that you know your end goal, what you are trying to attain from saving, investing, and just work towards it.
Yeah. And when it comes to savings, you got to have a balanced portfolio, like invest
Yeah.
some money in shares,
Shares.
some in property. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, so shares of any banks, or
Mm.
then investing money in cryptos, shares, or investing in properties. When you have good portfolio, then money is working for yourself. The
Yeah.
passive money is generating income, rather than you having to work all the time in your 9 to 5 job. That money
Yes.
starts working for you,
Yes.
so that you can attain your goal
Yes.
sooner than
However,
later.
you are taking a risk by making those investments.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
shares not always do well. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's why again, even for
value goes
shares, you
down.
need to be keen and keep eye
Mm.
on the things, like because the share market is so volatile. You need to know what's going on internationally, what's going on nationally, what's happening with the company, what new product they are launching, will the price will go up. So whenever you are investing on anything, you must have that. You can learn things, you can gather knowledge and use that knowledge for yourself, for
Yeah.
your betterment.
Exactly. And if you want to be a millionaire, you got to have your own business. You can't be a millionaire by working for someone else. Can
I
you?
don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And then being in business, it's not only for your personal growth, it's for professional growth as well.
Yeah.
Once you are in business and once you manage that business properly, then you know how you can invest in other business as well,
Yeah.
so that you multiply your portfolio, and that's how we grow as a professional and as a person as well. That's the beauty of being in business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that will be the end of our discussion today, probably. Do you want to add anything?
Thanks so much for the opportunity, Raindai. I really appreciate your valuable time, and I had the best time talking to you and talking about the business and the finances. So hopefully it is knowledgeable and fruitful to the viewers.
Yeah, same here, Bhawana. I learned so much today. Oh, it was so insightful. I think you are the unique person who wears so many different hats. It's a rare combination. Like you got marketing knowledge, you got accounting knowledge. And you're also into your own business. I wouldn't have found another person to have a chat like this today. Because if I talk to an accountant, probably they only talk about accounting perspective, but you came with so many different perspectives,
Oh,
which I really enjoy.
thank you so
Okay.
much. I'm
Thank you very
humbled.
much, Bhavana.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Okay, namaste, and thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye.